interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Hello and welcome to this Wednesday edition of the World Report. I'm Arjun, Samar, Mahendran. Let's take a look at what's making headlines around the world. PM Narendra Modi on Tuesday said that this is the right time, in fact, for businesses to come to India as the country works towards the goal of becoming Viksit Bharat by 2047. Now, this while providing a robust business-friendly environment and policy continuity. Addressing the 14th India-France CEO Forum in Paris, PM Modi said that the meeting is a confluence of the best minds from India and France. Meanwhile, Google CEO Sundar Pichai highlighted the incredible opportunities that AI will bring to India following his meeting with PM Modi on the sidelines, in fact, of the AI Action Summit in Paris. Meanwhile, the UK and US have not signed an international agreement on AI at the Global Summit. Now, the statement signed by dozens of countries, including France, China, and India, pledges an open, inclusive, and ethical approach to the technology's development. In a brief statement, the UK government said it had not in fact been able to add its name to it because of concerns about national security and global governance. Earlier, US Vice President J.D. Vance told delegates in Paris that too much regulation of AI could kill a transformative industry just as it's taking off. Listen in.
Loss of jobs is AI's most feared disruption. But history has shown that work does not disappear due to technology. Its nature changes and new types of jobs are created. Friends, India has successfully built a digital public infrastructure for over 1.4 billion people at a very low cost. And we have made digital commerce democratic and accessible to all. This vision is the foundation of India's national AI mission. We have one of the world's largest AI talent pools. India is building its own large language model considering our diversity.
After France, the PM will leave for the United States. He is on a key two-day US visit starting Wednesday and is expected to in fact propose tariff cuts and increased energy and defense imports during a meeting with US President Donald Trump. PM Modi keen to avert a potential trade war and boost trade ties after Trump threatened reciprocal tariffs on many countries.
have with us NDTV's Nikuj Garg joining us all the way from Washington. Nikuj, Prime Minister Modi is the fourth world leader to beat the president in his second innings. How significant is that? And what does that really go on to say about the relationship between India and the United States?
Well, yes, that proposition certainly is reflective of the not only the strength that the Indo-US relationship carries, but also the fact that how consequential this relationship has become for the entire Capitol Hill. Remember, in the last 2 decades or so, there has not been a single administration on the Capitol Hill in the White House that has thought any lightly of the Indo-US relationship. Almost all the administrations, right from the time Prime Minister Vajpayee took those nano steps of transforming the landscape of Indo-US relationship, have been extremely serious about the nature of this relationship, about the consequence of this relationship. And look, who has President Trump been meeting since the time? It's not been not been a month since he has been inaugurated, and he has been meeting allies, old American allies like Jordan, like Egypt, like Israel, and all of them in under a contingency. So that's a contingency plan of the administration where there is a situation contingent upon the United States, contingent upon the president himself. But when it comes to India, there is no contingency here. It's just the sheer strength of the relationship and the personal bonhomie. Let's not overlook the fact of the personal rapport and the personal bonhomie between President Trump and Prime Minister Modi that brings the strength to this relationship, the additional strength. In fact, I was talking to a ranking diplomat yesterday in Washington, D.C., and he told me that he does not remember a single occasion, which means that panning back to somewhere around 90s, he does not remember a single occasion where the apex of the political Indian leadership has been invited. And look, all these meetings do not happen at the behest of someone. These happen at the invitation of the host country, particularly when that country happens to be the United States of America. So in the 30 years or so that he could recall, that top-ranking diplomat on the DC, he says that he does not recall a single occasion when the apex of the Indian political leadership has been invited to Washington, D.C., to the White House so very quickly. So quite clearly, it reflects the strength of the relationship. It reflects the personal chemistry between the two leadership. It reflects the consequential nature of this relationship, Indo-US relationship between the two most consequential democracies in the world in the global arena. So the entire gamut of that relationship and its strength can certainly not be overlooked.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that the Gaza ceasefire will end if Hamas does not return Israeli hostages by midday on Saturday. Now, this comes after Hamas said it would postpone Saturday's planned release, accusing Israel of, in fact, violating the terms of the ceasefire. Benjamin Netanyahu warned of a return to intense fighting and said that his cabinet were in unanimous agreement following a 4-hour meeting. He said, and I quote here, all expressed outrage at the shocking situation of our 3 hostages who were released last Saturday. Listen in.
ההחלטה שהעברתי בקבינט פה אחד היא זאת: אם חמאס לא יחזיר את חטופינו עד שבת בצהריים, הפסקת האש תיפסק וצה"ל יחזור ללחימה עצימה עד להכרעה סופית של החמאס.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is threatening to call off the ceasefire with Hamas. Netanyahu says he will resume the war in the Gaza Strip if Hamas does not follow through on a promised release of hostages this Saturday. His tough words come after Hamas announced it will not free the hostages. It accuses Israel of violating the ceasefire. It says Israel is obligated to allow more badly needed aid into the territory. Netanyahu's tough position comes after President Donald Trump called on Hamas to release all remaining hostages by Saturday. That's over 70 people. Now, this demand goes well beyond the contours of the current phase of the ceasefire, and it's unlikely that Hamas could meet this deadline. But the tough words appear to be emboldening the Israeli leader. Remember, Netanyahu was at the White House last week where he had a warm meeting with President Trump. Now, Saturday is a few days off. That gives time for international mediators to work behind the scenes diplomacy in hopes of restoring this ceasefire. But in the meantime, Netanyahu has ordered the Israeli military to beef up troops in and around Gaza. A resumption of the war would be disastrous for the people of Gaza, who are only beginning to recover from 15 months of heavy fighting. It also would spell trouble for the families of remaining Israeli hostages. They are calling on Netanyahu to stick with the ceasefire until all hostages come home. So Netanyahu in the coming days will face heavy pressure from multiple directions and have some very difficult decisions to make.
Jordan's King Abdullah II, in fact, told Donald Trump on Tuesday that his country would take in some 2,000 sick children from war-torn Gaza enclave. However, he pushed back against the U.S. president's plan, in fact, to take over the Palestinian territory and send its population into exile. However, he told Trump that Egypt was working on a plan for how countries in the region could, quote-unquote, work with Trump on the proposal. The Jordanian monarch also appeared to offer a sweetener to Trump, who had just the day before the visit floated the possibility of halting U.S. aid to Jordan if it did not, in fact, take refugees. Listen in.
We were just in the Oval Office with President Trump and the King of Jordan, and they were talking about the future of the Gaza Strip and the ceasefire deal with Israel and Hamas. President Trump says he does not think Hamas will comply with terms of the ceasefire deal and that all bets are off starting Saturday at noon. The pressure is on Hamas to release the remaining hostages in order to keep the ceasefire operational, and Israel has signaled is ready to restart hostilities if they don't get the hostages out.
Ukraine will offer to swap territory with Russia in any potential peace negotiations, President Volodymyr Zelensky has said in an interview on Tuesday. Now, he added that Europe alone would not be able to shoulder Kiev's war effort. According to reports, Zelensky will meet U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance on Friday at the Munich Security Conference as Washington pushes for an end to the nearly 3-year war with Russia. Now, Vance has been a frequent critic, in fact, of U.S. support that has been vital for Ukraine's war effort. Listen. Meanwhile, the U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent will travel to Ukraine this week, Donald Trump wrote in a social media post on Tuesday. Trump said that Bessent, in fact, will meet with Zelensky and suggested that the two leaders could discuss pathways to ending the conflict. U.S. President Donald Trump and ally and advisor Elon Musk spoke to reporters in the Oval Office Tuesday afternoon, defending slashing of federal government's programs and employees under Musk's Doge program and insisting that they are, quote-unquote, maximally transparent in their efforts. In a rare question and answer session between Musk and reporters, Musk insisted he is not orchestrating a hostile takeover of the government, but in fact, instead, is giving the voters what they asked for to begin with. Asked if he is in effect policing himself as he has a number of government contracts, Musk maintained there has never been an organization that has been more transparent than the Doge organization, and that the public can see for itself whether there are conflicts of interest. Now listen in to what Musk said.
There are good people who are in the federal bureaucracy, but you can't have an autonomous federal bureaucracy. You have to have one that's responsive to the people. That's the whole point of a democracy. And if you looked at this, if you looked at the founders today and said, what do you think of the way things have turned out? Well, we have this unelected, fourth unconstitutional branch of government, which is the bureaucracy, which has, in a lot of ways, currently more power than any elected representative. And this is not something that people want, and it does not match the will of the people. So it's just something we've got to fix.
Mark Fogel, an American teacher who was deemed wrongfully detained by Russia, has been released in what the White House described as a diplomatic thaw, in fact, that could advance negotiations to even end the war in Ukraine. Now, Steve Witkoff, a special envoy for President Donald Trump, left Russia with Fogel, a history teacher from Pennsylvania, and brought him to the White House straight up, where Trump greeted him. Fogel arrived at the White House as he stood next to Trump with an American flag draped around his shoulders. Fogel, who was expected to be reunited with his family by the end of the day, said he would forever be indebted to Trump. Trump said another American would be released on Wednesday, though he declined to name that person or say what country, only saying it was someone very special. Listen in.
I feel like the luckiest man on earth right now. And I want you to know that I am not a hero in this at all. And President Trump is a hero. These men that came from the diplomatic service are heroes. The senators and representatives that passed legislation in my honor to get me home are the heroes.
Bangladesh's Election Commission has said preparations are underway, in fact, to stage general elections by December this year. This as nationwide vandalisms over the past week prompted the interim Mohammad Yunus government to agree to the proposal. Now, everyone loves a breath of fresh air. Unfortunately, too often our air is anything but fresh. While air quality varies dramatically around the world, about 99% of the global population, in fact, is exposed to air at some point that doesn't meet the strict standards set by the World Health Organization or the WHO. The agency has reported. The UN Health Agency estimates that polluted air laden with noxious gases or tiny invisible particles that burrow into human bodies kills 7 million people prematurely every year. That's right, it kills 7 million people prematurely every year. And for the millions living in some of the world's smoggiest cities, many of them in Asia like New Delhi, Dhaka, Bangkok, and even Jakarta, bad air might seem unescapable. Listen in.
And now the science is so clear, and they have been able to establish through a lot of their cohort studies and epidemiological studies that the evidence is very loud and clear. That's why air pollution, we really have to deal with it at a very urgent scale.
The Kilwa volcano began shooting lava in the air once again Tuesday on the big island of Hawaii. Now, Kilwa, one of the world's most active volcanoes, in fact, has been erupting on and off for nearly 2 months since it burst to life on the 23rd of December for the first time. The eruptions has been taking place at the volcano's summit crater inside Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. No residential areas have been threatened by the lava. The latest release of molten rock began 10:16 a.m. local time with lava flowing on the floor of the Halemanu crater. Only a half hour later, in fact, a vent shot lava about 330 feet high into the air. And it's time we slip into a short break. I'll see you on the other side.
Discover the finest quality made-to-measure blinds, shutters and curtains at Blinds Direct. A huge selection of beautiful window dressings to suit every room. Handmade here in the UK with a 5-year guarantee for your peace of mind. Order your free samples today and choose your perfect design. Exclusively online, delivered direct to your door. Shop now for 30% off selected products at Blinds Direct. Create your dream home with blindsdirect.co.uk.
We know travel can be confusing, so let us inspire you. Welcome to Qatar. Experience it all. World-class hospitality, diverse landscapes from city to sea, and fly there with the Airline of the Year 2022, Qatar Airways. Book now at travelup.com or call 0207 580 5000. Travel Up, flights, hotels, holidays.
With retirement round the corner, I want to spend more time with my family, which reminds me.
Welcome to British Seniors, the UK's #1 rated provider of over 50s life insurance. We're proud to offer our seniors lifetime guarantee. With 100% of claims having been paid, we guarantee your premiums will never go up and that you'll speak to one of our specialists in the UK. Plus, when you sign up, you'll receive a £135 gift card.
Be proud to protect your loved ones with British Seniors. To get a free quote today, call our UK team or visit britishseniors.co.uk.
Your personalized car insurance deals from Otto Sergei, already done for you.
Simples.
Get personalized deals delivered from Compare the Market.
Poor pet. Just shows you never know what's going to happen. That's why I'm looking into smart family life insurance.
Just like families, not all life insurance is the same. That's why we offer the Smart Family Guarantee. We guarantee a straightforward application process, award-winning service you can trust, and cover from day one. Plus, you get your choice of £125 gift card.
To get a free quote today, call our specialist UK team or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
Welcome back. You're watching The World Report on NDTV. According to reports, US President Donald Trump's trade advisors are finalizing plans on for the reciprocal tariffs the US president, in fact, has vowed to impose on every country that charges duties on US imports, ratcheting up fears of a widening global trade war. Trump stuns markets with his decision on Monday to impose tariffs on all steel and aluminium imports beginning the 12th of March. Now, the plan drew condemnation from Mexico, Canada, and the European Union, while Japan and Australia said they were seeking exemptions from the duties. Meanwhile, reports suggest that Germany's Commerzbank is preparing staff cuts and revamped financial targets in its efforts to, in fact, fend off tie-up advances by Italy's UniCredit. The measures would be more revolutionary or evolutionary than radical, while some conceded that a takeover of the German bank, which saw its stock price jump by 50% since UniCredit's first signaled interest, may be hard to stop. The battle for Commerzbank has become a test case of the country's ability to fend off foreign suitors and preventing its financial center from losing one of its few remaining big commercial banks. Japanese technology investor SoftBank Group has booked a net loss of 369.2 billion yen in the October-December quarter. Now this as valuations at his Vision Fund investments arm fell. The loss will further raise questions about SoftBank's plans for one of its most ambitious undertakings, a hefty investment in OpenAI. Now, according to reports, the company was in talks to invest up to $25 billion in the ChatGPT creator. Recent media reports have said that the figure has grown to $40 billion, though some of the amount would later be syndicated out to other investors. The chairman of Taiwan's Foxconn said on Wednesday that the company's aim is cooperation with Nissan, not acquisition, as the Japanese automaker's future hangs in the balance after stepping back from merger talks with Honda. Struggling Nissan is again at a crossroads after reports suggested that negotiations with bigger rival Honda to create the world's #4 automaker had been complicated by growing differences. An estimated 127.7 million viewers tuned in for Sunday's Super Bowl National Football League Championship broadcast by Fox, the largest audience in TV history for a single network telecast in the US, the Nielsen ratings agency said on Tuesday. Now, the figures also include US viewers who watched on the Fox broadcast network, Fox Deportes, Telemundo, and the Fox-owned streaming service Tubi in homes and at bars and restaurants. Indian pacer Jasprit Bumrah, meanwhile, has been ruled out of India's squad for the upcoming Champions Trophy 2025. BCCI confirmed the move late Tuesday evening. Now, the 23-year-old pacer Harshit Rana was named as Bumrah's replacement in the final 15-man squad. In another selection twist, young opener Yashasvi Jaiswal was also left out of the final squad, with 33-year-old mystery spinner Varun Chakravarti being named in his place. The Los Angeles Dodgers reported for spring training on Tuesday at their Camelback Ranch training camp in Arizona, with fans crowding to see Shohei Ohtani in action. After spending off-season in rehab due to an arm injury Ohtani suffered, which ruled him out for the pitching for the whole of 2024. In fact, the Japanese star returned to the mound showing no signs of discomfort. Ohtani is expected to make a return as a two-way later this year. Chinese animated feature film Ninja 2 has continued its extraordinary Bollywood box office run after becoming the country's highest-grossing movie, captivating audiences both at home and abroad. Now this as the cinematic sensation makes its mark on international screens. Starring the iconic character Ninja from Chinese mythology, the film has quickly become a cultural phenomenon since its release on the 29th of January, the first day, in fact, of the Chinese New Year holiday. Just over the past weekend, the Chinese blockbuster made its highly anticipated North American debut, with a full release scheduled for the 14th of February, or Valentine's Day, in fact, across the continent. Anthony Mackie and Harrison Ford premiered Captain America: Brave New World in Los Angeles on Tuesday. Mackie said his experience in theatre helped prepare him for the film's titular role. Mackie ran into his friend and MCU co-star Don Cheadle on the red carpet. Captain America: Brave New World hits US theaters this Friday.
You know, the best thing about theater is it teaches you to listen. Like, you know, when you're acting, it's like a game of tennis. You volley to each other. You know, you can't drop the ball. So when you're on the stage, you really have to be in tune with the person that you're on stage with. And that was such a big help shooting this movie, because there's so many different hands in the pot. There's so many different moving parts. You know, being on stage with Harrison Ford, you never want to drop the ball. So, you know, I feel like everybody kind of showed up and played their part and did their best to make the best movie we could.
Well, that's a wrap from me. Take care and have a wonderful day.
Hi, it's Phoebe from Auto Trader's monthly electric car giveaway, and we're pleased to say that you've won a brand new electric car.
It's a dream, honestly, it really is a dream. Oh my god. Me and my boyfriend talk about the Auto Trader competition every single month. I was waiting for the know you ever won.
Add light and a touch of style to your home with Luma Lantern from JML. The light and motion-activated solar-powered lantern light. Just peel and stick for easy installation. The built-in solar panel charges it during the day and it automatically switches on at night, then turns off when it's light. Choose from 3 different brightness settings for the perfect hassle-free lighting this winter with Luma Lantern. Only $14.99 from Asda, Argos, Morrisons, Tesco and JMLDirect.com.
What are you so happy about?
I've just made a claim. We could be owed thousands.
My claim group?
Yeah, the cars we've bought on finance, well, the lenders could have charged hidden commissions. It's dead simple to claim.
Hey, I had 2 cars before we met.
Go to My Claim Group.
Opened, and right now you can see the President of France and Prime Minister Narendra Modi both in fact at the cemetery where the Prime Minister is going to pay homage to the fallen Indian soldiers. These soldiers fought in World War I.
What are you so happy about?
I've just made a claim. We could be owed thousands.
My claim group?
Yeah, the cars we've bought on finance, well, the lenders could have charged hidden commissions. It's dead simple to claim.
Hey, I had 2 cars before we met.
Go to My Claim Group. You could be owed thousands in hidden commissions from cars you bought on finance since 2007, even if you can't remember the details.
Done.
Simple, eh? Go to My Claim Group now.
Claims made simple. Sitting quietly while your car is made all shiny. Downtime can be just fine too. Ready meal is piping. Waterproof on the loo. Just enjoy your back tattoo. Tea break, face break, maybe even watch the ad break. Sometimes it's not time for some tombola, right? It's enjoying lasagna time, chilling with a book time, or time to visit your nan time. Put the phone down.
By playing People's Postcode Lottery, you've helped thousands of good causes. So thank you.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. Love, sweet love.
Right, now, on to number 42.
That's the wreath-laying ceremony which is taking place at this moment. Prime Minister laying a wreath in remembrance of the soldiers. The wreath that Prime Minister has laid is also in the tricolour of India. These are visuals coming in from the cemetery where the Prime Minister is paying homage, and at this moment there is a minute of silence which is being observed at the cemetery. Were the national anthems of India and France, both nations' national anthems also being played at this moment, ladies and gentlemen. And the Prime Minister and the President have laid the wreath and have also, in fact, paid their homage to the fallen Indian soldiers. The host nation's President, in fact, escorting the Prime Minister at this war cemetery where Indian soldiers, those who fought in World War I and World War II, have in fact their final resting place here in Marseille, France. Mohammad Ghazali is with me at this moment, my colleague who is continuing to give us more details as far as this entire story is concerned. Mohammad Ghazali, this tells you that the relationship between India and France, it's not just an economic or a market-wise relationship, it's a very old relationship as well.
See, Ankit, Prime Minister Modi, as you rightly pointed out, this entire relationship, diplomatic relations between India and France is not just centered around the AI summit or the defense deals or the several MOUs, which later we will get to know about. It's also because the Prime Minister has made it what you can say a habit or routine, or it's part of his schedule that whenever he goes to a foreign country, he often tries to visit those memorials which have been established to commemorate the services of Indian soldiers during the World War. So not just this war cemetery in France, but Prime Minister had also visited during his previous trips to Australia. He had paid homage to the Indian soldiers back in November 2014 when he paid homage to martyrs at the Australian War Memorial in Canberra. And later he did the same when he visited Egypt, he visited Mesopotamia. In 2015, he also visited another war memorial in France back in 2015. And back then, he became the first Indian Prime Minister to do so. And even today, when he's visiting this particular war memorial, Prime Minister is yet again bringing this to the fore, that how Indian soldiers had fought in World War I, in World War II. And the data suggests that perhaps 1.3 million Indian soldiers served abroad during World War I. And out of those, around 138,000 were deployed in Europe alone. And most of these soldiers and enlisted officers served in that particular area where this war memorial is established. And they have greatly served. And France also acknowledges the fact that how Indian origin soldiers or Indian soldiers in the pre-independent era were part of the World War I, they were part of the World War II as well. And their contribution is such that they had to set up this war memorial where the Prime Minister is now paying homage or is present there right now.
Right. We are also being joined by Colonel S. Dini, who is a defense analyst. Thank you for speaking to NDTV. We can see how the Prime Minister and the President right now, in fact, writing a note at this cemetery. Despite now, of course, a lot being written about India's contribution or Indian soldiers' fight as far as the World War I and II is concerned, but it's still something that is not very common as far as the masses are concerned, sir. I mean, in India, there is very less, education or enlightenment as far as our contribution to the World War I and World War II is concerned.
Oh, absolutely, Ankit. I think you're right there that not enough has been spoken about these soldiers whom all of us who have served and who are serving right now in the armed forces believe that these were our forefathers who actually, have given us the foundation on which the present armed forces are standing. If we are today a mighty army or armed forces, it is because of the sacrifices which these men had carried out during those World War I and World War II. And as Mohammad Ghazali rightly brought out, there were almost 1.3 million soldiers who had gone for World War I, and out of which almost 74,000 people had died. And you must always remember also, Ankit, that these soldiers who were going for the first time outside, they had never ever witnessed such a war. They never saw any machine guns or such like things. They never was experienced into a trench warfare or a tank warfare sort of a scenario. But yet, these people came out with flying colors. The sheer bravery which they displayed is what makes them special. And today, the whole world recognizes what they did. And if you go deep into the history, there are places in which Indians are looked upon in a very high order because of these soldiers. I remember there's a port in Italy wherein the Indian soldiers stood guard against the invading raiders who had come to protect the women of that place. And later on, after many years, when an Indian ship was there, the entire town had come, and the mayor was there to receive them. And that mayor, whose mother told them about the story, that it was because of the Indian soldiers that we were protected. So I think it is not only the courage, it also is the character what stood out as far as the Indian soldiers go. And you are absolutely right that not enough has been said about them, not enough has been written about them. And it's very good to see the Honorable Prime Minister taking every opportunity to bring this fact not only to the world's attention, but I think more importantly to ourselves.
Yes.
That these were the people who has fought for what we are today.
How do you see, gestures like these, in bridging that gap, not only between people to people, but also in defense ties, like militaries and their histories, when people understand the sacrifices that people have given in another country? You're not fighting on your own soil, you're fighting to save somebody else that you have is absolutely no relation to. That does in fact present some sort of a history that can help today, of course, when we are trying to build a collective future.
Yes, Ankit, almost all military forces across the globe, they give a lot of importance to the legacy which they have, whether it is any armed forces. They believe that whatever they did in the past, it means a lot to them. So similarly, when in India, Indian soldiers who have fought in France, when these soldiers, the French soldiers, are seeing that, these are the people who came in World War I and World War II, fought in a different land, fought for something which was actually not directly involved, they had nothing to do with it. Absolutely. But because they fought for the flag, there's something that professionalism is what matters. They fought for the flag of their battalion, or the Pulton as it was called, and that professionalism actually would be respected by all professional armies. So you're right in the sense that these kind of gestures definitely go in a long way in understanding the armed forces cultures of each other, and definitely in future scenario, whenever there's a joint exercises or otherwise, I think it will be a great advantage.
Right, we are playing those visuals of this entire visit of the Prime Minister at this war memorial, the cemetery where fallen Indian soldiers, their final resting place, people, many thousands of kilometers away from their homeland, fought in Europe, as Colonel Dini was telling us, something which was not directly impacting India at that point of time, but of course they fought because armies fight on orders, for the Pulton, for the flag. Colonel Dini, let me very quickly also ask from you if you could tell our viewers in Marseille, of course, this cemetery for the fallen Indian soldiers, but there are some very important spots in and around Europe, not just in France, but in many other countries as well, where Indian soldiers played a defining role in World War I and II.
Absolutely, not only in France, Ankit, in Mesopotamia, like what Mohammad Ghazali was mentioning, in Egypt, in Australia, of course in Africa. There are so many places where Indian troops have gone, and it's very difficult to think that these soldiers were going abroad on a mission for the first time, and as I mentioned, they had no clue, or they have never had any such experiences. But in different terrains, in different situations, different operational conditions, they could operate, and I think their bravery and, as I mentioned earlier, their character stood out. So I think there's so many stories there, so many things which are yet to come out, and I'm sure in the coming days there are already people who are interested in it, and by each such gestures, more and more stories will come out of what the Indian armed forces or the Indian soldiers did in foreign lands.
Minister visiting these places regularly whenever he goes to any of these kind of countries where there have been battlegrounds and contribution to India, if the Prime Minister goes there, not only does it increases the awareness, but how do you see that impacting people back home? I mean, it also gives that new light which many people would not have known, that this is also a place where Indian soldiers gave up their blood and life for.
Absolutely, Ankit. See, we must understand when the Prime Minister of a country goes there, and especially a person like Mr. Modi, when he goes, the whole media is there. The people are now looking into that, where has Mr. Modi gone? So therefore, the interest is there, the awareness comes in, and also people will start reading about it, knowing about it, and then they will understand the legacy, what I was speaking of earlier. So I think what the Honorable Prime Minister has done is not only a gesture, that which, of course, it's very thoughtful and appropriate, but I think he's also trying to bring in more awareness. I think, like I mentioned earlier, more within our country. Our country, there are instances when we forget what we are, whether it is military or whether it is our culture or other such like things. But here, by this visit, there are people, and as I know today, there are many students of military history who are now looking into these war. The various operations which Indian armed forces or Indian soldiers have participated. They're now studying on it. They're carrying out research on it. There are a lot of YouTube people, influencers who are now speaking about it.
Yes.
And therefore, gradually, I think we will see a change.
Can I also understand from you, sir, in context of this visit of the Prime Minister to France, this is also a very important development vis-a-vis the India-France defense cooperation as well. There is much more on the cards in terms of the Rafale jets and the submarines as well. How important do you see both these countries as partners?
See, one thing is very clear, Ankit. I think France has always been one of our, most trustworthy, and I would say a constant strategic partner, no matter what the kind of geopolitical situation in which India was. So I think in that way, I think France has been a very strong ally of India, but yet they never used to overplay it. There are other countries which used to show that they are very strategically close to India, and they used to say it. But France has, I think, always throughout. It's not only now. Throughout, France has stood by us, whether it was during Kargil and before that, and all those. Of course, now with this Rafale thing, again, we knew that what are the conditions in which the Rafale deal was signed. It was signed when in China and India we were having a situation along the line of actual control. So in that time also, France stood by us. Of course, France has been helping us through the submarines. So multiple times we have seen France as an ally has been constant. They have been trustworthy, and also they go by what they say. It is not that they are influenced by other situations or other as I put it, whether other restrictions imposed by other countries. So that way, I think France and India are a very strong partners in today's geopolitical situation. And I think from this visit, it has been taken further ahead, as we have seen that the Prime Minister has been the co-chair with the artificial intelligence part of it, which actually brings the future also being that much more secure between both those countries.
So stay on with me. I have to slip into a very short break. We are taking a break, and coming back, we leave you with these visuals, ladies and gentlemen, of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in fact, paying homage at this cemetery to the fallen Indian soldiers, meeting in Marseille, where he was escorted by the President of France, Emmanuel Macron.
Don't you have Watchdog Lock? No! What's that? Don't be a victim, yeah. Get Watchdogs, 3-star solid secure diamond locks. They are anti-pick, anti-snap, anti-bar. बोले तो fully anti-chore. जब तक जोड़ेंगे नहीं, तब तक छोड़ेंगे.
Poor pet. Just shows you never know what's going to happen. That's why I'm looking into smart family life insurance.
Just like families, not all life insurance is the same. That's why we offer the Smart Family Guarantee. We guarantee a straightforward application process, award-winning service you can trust, and cover from day one. Plus, you get your choice of £125 gift card.
To get a free quote today, call our specialist UK team or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
Play the Great Big Lottery and you can help make more wins happen at Great Ormond Street Hospital. Like bringing fun to Rajveer's ward, discovering new treatments, and helping children go home sooner. Just call 0800 472 5774 or search Gosh Lottery to start playing for just £1. There's up to £10,000 up for grabs in our annual Super Draw, plus a £1,000 jackpot every week, and many more great cash prizes. So call or go online now for a chance to win big prizes and make more wins happen.
We all love a bargain, like these flatmates who switched to Vodafone and are now paying less for their full fibre broadband, which means they can still stream 2 shows at the same time. But for less. Still gaming with mates, but for less. He's behind you. Reliable full fibre broadband for less from Vodafone.
Health isn't someday in the future. It's now. It's same-day GP appointments. Physio without GP referrals. Cancer testing, scans, and diagnosis fast. Questions for an expert at any hour about anything.